Have you ever wondered what would happen if you just stopped chasing more? In a world that constantly tells us to buy bigger, better, newer, what if we dared to live differently? What if true happiness isn't about what we own, but what we let go of? It's a bold question, I know. Society isn't exactly on board with that idea. We were raised to believe that success is measured by what we accumulate. The house, the car, the gadgets, you name it. We've all been there, caught up in the rush trying to keep up. But here's the twist. What if everything you've been told about happiness is wrong? Let me take you on a journey to a slower, simpler life. Not one of deprivation or sacrifice, but one of freedom. This might feel a little unconventional at first, maybe even a bit rebellious. But trust me, stepping off that hamster wheel could be the best decision you've ever made. So, here's my question for you. Are you ready to rethink everything you've ever believed about what it means to live well? When was the last time you truly stopped and looked at all the stuff around you? Not just in your home, but in your life. The kitchen gadgets you rarely use, the clothes at the back of your closet, the knickknacks collecting dust on the shelves. Why do we hold on to so much? For years, we've been told that these things define us, that success means accumulating more. A bigger house, a nicer car, the latest tech. We didn't even question it, we just went along with it. And it felt good for a while. But somewhere along the way, it became too much. I remember the exact moment it hit me. I was standing in my garage, surrounded by boxes, some I hadn't opened in over a decade. There were kitchen appliances I didn't even remember buying. 5 coffee makers. Yes, 5. It was overwhelming. I had spent so much of my life gathering things I thought I needed, only to realize that those things were weighing me down. It wasn't just physical clutter, it was mental clutter too. And that's when I knew I needed a change. It wasn't just me who felt trapped by stuff. I've spoken to countless people who shared the same story. They started out collecting a few things here and there, some for comfort, others for status. But over time, the things they owned started to own them. We've all been there, haven't we? Walking into a store for one thing and coming out with a cart full of stuff we didn't even know we needed. Or logging into Amazon just browsing and somehow spending $100 on things that felt like a good idea at the time. It's the consumerism trap, and it's sneaky. It convinces us that each purchase will make us just a little bit happier, a little bit more fulfilled. But the truth is, it never does. Think about it. How many things have you bought recently that truly added lasting value to your life? And here's the twist, it's not our fault. Society pushes us to consume at every turn. Ads, sales, and social media constantly remind us that we need to upgrade, improve, and stay on trend. It's a system designed to make us feel like we're always missing something. But here's the question, what if we stopped playing that game? What if, instead of buying more, we chose to need less? It sounds radical, doesn't it? But that's where the freedom lies. Once you step off the consumer treadmill, you start to see things differently. You begin to notice what truly matters. And that's where the magic happens. Let's be honest, stepping away from consumerism isn't easy. Even after you've made the decision to live more simply, the pull to buy something new never fully disappears. It's everywhere, on TV, online, even in conversations with friends. How many times have you been influenced by someone saying, "Oh, you've got to try this," or "You'd love this gadget"? Before you know it, you're adding it to your shopping cart, convincing yourself it's a must-have. And here's the real kicker. Those little purchases don't just cost money. They cost something far more valuable: your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. We spend hours browsing for deals, comparing reviews, and waiting for packages. Then we spend even more time finding space for those new things in our already crowded homes. It becomes a never-ending cycle of consuming, organizing, and managing our stuff. But imagine if you reclaimed all that time. What would you do with it? Maybe you'd spend more mornings sipping coffee in the garden, enjoying the quiet. Or maybe you'd finally start writing that family memoir you've always thought about. The truth is, when you stop filling your life with things, you create space. Space for the experiences and connections that truly bring meaning. Here's where it gets interesting. Once you start letting go, something unexpected happens. You gain a kind of freedom you didn't even know you were missing. I remember the first time I cleaned out my closet. I found clothes I hadn't worn in years, Some still had tags on them, bought on a whim but never touched. As I started sorting through it all, I noticed a pattern. Most of the things I held on to weren't because I needed them, they were tied to some idea of who I thought I should be. That jacket? I bought it thinking I'd wear it to fancy events. Never happened. The shoes? Uncomfortable, but they made me feel trendy for 5 minutes. The more I let go, the more I realized I wasn't just clearing out clutter, I was letting go of expectations I no longer needed. It wasn't just about clothes or old gadgets. It was about stepping away from who I thought I had to be and embracing who I truly am. It felt strange at first, almost like I was breaking some unspoken rule. We're taught to accumulate, to upgrade, to hold on, so choosing to do the opposite can feel radical. But it's also empowering. And here's the thing, the space you create isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional. Suddenly, you're free to focus on what truly matters. Relationships, experiences, and those small, quiet moments of joy that money can't buy. When was the last time you made space for those things? Slowing down isn't just about living with less. It's about making intentional choices, creating space for the things that truly matter. For me, it was the little things. Morning walks along the riverbank, savoring a quiet cup of tea without rushing off to the next task, watching the seasons change and feeling deeply connected to the flow of life. These moments might seem small, but they were everything. What are those moments for you? Maybe it's spending time with your grandkids, sharing old stories and watching their eyes light up. Or reconnecting with an old hobby, painting, gardening, or woodworking, that once brought you so much joy. But here's the trick. You won't find these moments if you're constantly distracted by the noise of modern life. The endless push to consume, to stay busy, to chase the next thing, it drowns out what's truly important. When you slow down, you start to see the beauty in the ordinary. The way sunlight filters through the trees, the sound of rain tapping gently on the roof. These simple pleasures remind us of what it means to be alive. And here's the surprise. Once you embrace this slower, simpler way of living, you realize you don't miss the things you left behind. You don't miss the constant upgrades, the clutter, or the race to keep up. What replaces them is far richer: contentment, peace, and clarity. Let's face it, choosing a simpler life isn't without its challenges. Society pushes us to keep consuming, to keep achieving, and to keep moving faster. It's so ingrained in our culture that slowing down can feel like rebellion. When you decide to stop buying into that system, people might not understand. Friends or family might question your choices. Why aren't you upgrading your car? Don't you want a bigger house? Why haven't you bought the latest phone? At first, it feels strange. You might even doubt yourself. But let me share something that surprised me. The more you lean into this slower way of living, the less those outside voices matter. You start to care less about keeping up and more about staying true to what makes you happy. It's liberating. And here's the best part, you start inspiring others. I've had friends tell me they downsized their homes after seeing how much happier I was. Others started clearing out closets, taking long walks in nature, and reconnecting with old passions. Living this way doesn't just change your life, it sends ripples out into the lives of the people around you. So, the real question is, are you ready to be that ripple? Here's something I never expected when I embraced the slow life. The simple things, the things I once overlooked, started to feel like pure luxury. A quiet afternoon with a book, the smell of homemade bread baking in the oven, or sipping tea while watching the sunset became moments of deep contentment. There was no rush, no noise, no endless pursuit of the next best thing. These little experiences, the ones that cost nothing, became the highlights of my day. It made me wonder, why did I spend so much time and energy chasing after things that couldn't give me this kind of joy? You see, when you're caught in the cycle of always wanting more, you miss these moments. You're too busy planning the next purchase, worrying about the next upgrade. But when you step away from that mindset, life suddenly becomes richer in ways you never imagined. Even something as simple as growing herbs on a windowsill or walking barefoot in the grass can feel like a gift. The beauty is already there, you just have to slow down enough to notice it. And that's the real magic of simplicity, it makes room for the things that truly matter. Take a moment, breathe. Look around your home, your life. What do you see? Is it filled with things that bring you joy, or things you've collected along the way without even realizing it? Sometimes we don't notice how much we're carrying until we stop and really reflect. The clothes that no longer fit, the kitchen gadgets gathering dust, the boxes in the attic we haven't opened in years, they all quietly take up space in our lives. But here's the secret. Letting go of what no longer serves you doesn't leave an empty space. It creates room for something better. Imagine how freeing it would be to wake up and feel unburdened. No more clutter to organize. No more stress about keeping up with the latest trends. Just calm, open space, both in your home and in your mind. And once you begin clearing out the physical clutter, something surprising happens. You start to feel lighter emotionally too. You reconnect with who you are now, not who you were when you bought all those things. You remember what truly matters, your health, your relationships, and those little moments of peace and joy. So here's my challenge. Choose one small thing today and let it go. Then see how it feels. Let's be honest, living a simpler life isn't always easy. Society is constantly pushing us to do more, have more, and be more. We've been taught to measure our worth by how much we own, how busy we are, and how well we can keep up with the latest trends. So when you decide to step away from that, it can feel unsettling at first. People might question your choices. What? Aren't you upgrading your car? Why not buy the latest phone? Don't you want more for yourself? But here's the thing. Those questions say more about society's expectations than they do about your choices. Living intentionally with less takes courage. It's about reclaiming control over your own life and deciding what truly matters to you. At first, it may feel like you're swimming upstream. You'll have moments of doubt, wondering if you're doing the right thing. But trust me, the more you embrace this slower, simpler way of living, the more you'll realize how much peace it brings. And here's the magic. As you live more in alignment with your values, you'll inspire others to do the same. You'll become a quiet ripple in a world that desperately needs change. So why not start now? Have you ever wondered how much of your life has been shaped by someone else's idea of happiness? We were told that success meant climbing the ladder, buying a bigger house, filling it with beautiful things. The more we had, the happier we'd be, or so they said. But here's the harsh reality. That promise was never really about our happiness. It was about keeping us in the system by consume, repeat. Think about it. Every advertisement we've ever seen was designed to make us feel like we're missing something. Your life would be better with this car. You'll finally be happy once you own this. It's subtle but powerful. And for years we believed it. But here's the twist, they lied. A study once followed people who won the lottery. You'd expect them to be happier, right? At first they were. But within a few months, most returned to their previous level of happiness, or lower. The things they thought would change their lives didn't. Instead, many found themselves lonelier, drowning in stuff they didn't need, and disconnected from what truly mattered. What if the pursuit of more is actually the very thing keeping us from being happy? It's not a popular idea, but it's one worth thinking about. We rarely stop to ask ourselves, what has the pursuit of more actually cost us? On the surface, it looks like progress, bigger houses, better cars, endless options at our fingertips. But peel back the layers and you'll start to see what's really happening. The endless drive for more hasn't made us freer. It's made us prisoners of our own lifestyles. I once knew a couple who seemed to have it all. Beautiful home, luxury vacations, the latest gadgets. On the outside, they were the picture of success. But behind closed doors, they were drowning in debt, stressed out, and disconnected from each other. The constant chase for more consumed every part of their lives. And here's the kicker. They weren't happy. They were stuck on a treadmill, always running but never really getting anywhere. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. How many of us are on that same treadmill and don't even realize it? We work longer hours to afford the lifestyle we think we need. We sacrifice time with loved ones, our health, and our peace of mind just to keep up. But when we step back and ask why, the answer isn't always clear. What if we've been chasing the wrong things all along? Here's something we don't talk about enough. Every time we say yes to something new, we're silently saying no to something else. Yes to longer work hours? That's a no to family dinners. Yes to keeping up with the latest trends? That's a no to financial peace. Yes to a house filled with things? That's often a no to a life filled with freedom. But how did we get here? Most of us never consciously agreed to this trade-off. We just slipped into it little by little without realizing what we were giving up. Take a look at your calendar. How much of it is filled with obligations you don't even enjoy? How much of your hard-earned money is spent on things that sit in closets, untouched and forgotten? Let me hit you with something uncomfortable. We've traded our time, the most valuable thing we have, for stuff that doesn't really matter. That's the plot twist no one wants to admit. And yet, we keep doing it because slowing down feels risky. Feels like we might fall behind, lose out, or be seen as less successful. But what if slowing down isn't a step backward at all? What if it's the most radical, courageous thing you can do? The truth is, stepping away from the chase feels strange at first, like you're breaking some unwritten rule. You might worry, what will people think? Am I giving up? Am I missing out? But here's the twist. The moment you stop chasing, something remarkable happens. Suddenly, you notice the things that have been right in front of you all along. The laughter of your grandchildren, the way the morning light filters through your window, the joy of an unhurried conversation with an old friend. These aren't just little things. They're the fabric of a meaningful life. And here's the kicker. None of these moments require you to spend a single dollar. They don't come with price tags or labels, but they are more valuable than anything you can buy. I once spoke to a man who made the bold decision to leave his high-powered job, sell his big house, and move to a small cottage near the mountains. His friends thought he was crazy. But do you know what he told me? For the first time in my life, I feel free. That freedom didn't come from having more. It came from needing less. So, what would happen if you gave yourself permission to slow down? Slowing down sounds easy, but let's be honest, it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. It means questioning choices you've made for years, letting go of things that once felt important. And perhaps the toughest part? It means walking a different path, one that many people around you won't understand. Friends might say, "Why would you give that up?" Or, "Don't you want to keep climbing?" Society rewards those who push harder, accumulate more, and always stay busy. But here's the irony. While we're busy chasing, we're missing out on life itself. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly present? Not rushing, not planning, not worrying, just fully immersed in the moment. That's what a slower, simpler life offers. It's not about sacrifice. It's about choosing peace over pressure, fulfillment over status, and connection over clutter. And here's the real shocker. The more you let go, the more life gives back. More time, more clarity, more moments of real joy. It's not the life you've been sold, it's something far better. So here's the question. Are you ready to trade more for meaning? So where do we go from here? You've heard the stories, you've felt the tension. Now it's time to make it real. But here's the good news. You don't need to transform your entire life overnight. The slow, simple life doesn't start with a grand gesture. It starts with one small step. Go to your closet, your garage, or even just that junk drawer in the kitchen. Pick one thing, just one, that no longer serves you. Ask yourself, do I really need this? Does it bring me joy? If the answer is no, let it go. Donate it, recycle it, or give it to someone who needs it. Sounds simple, right? But here's the twist. That small act will ripple through your life in ways you can't predict. The physical space you create will bring mental clarity. The freedom from clutter will spark something deeper, a desire to reclaim even more of your time, your energy, and your peace. And each time you let go, you'll feel it, a little lighter, a little freer. So, are you ready to take that first step? I promise it's worth it. The life you want isn't waiting somewhere in the future. It's already here, hidden beneath all the noise and clutter. You don't need more to find it, you need less. This isn't about perfection. It's about intention. About choosing what matters and letting go of the rest. So take a moment and reflect. What do you want your life to feel like? Not what it should look like, but how it should feel. Peaceful, free, full of connection and meaning? You have the power to create that life. Not by adding more, but by making room for what's already there. The relationships, the quiet joys, the simple moments that money can't buy. And remember, you're not alone. Thousands of people have made this choice and discovered something far more valuable than the possessions they left behind. So what will your story be? Will you keep chasing? or will you slow down and truly live? I invite you to take that journey with me. Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. If this resonates, type, "I'm ready." If not, I'd love to hear why. Thank you for watching. Until next time, live slow, live well.